Hey! So it's the live stream. I just want to preface that I am slightly sniffly, but otherwise I feel pretty good. So if I sniff, that's why, okay? And it might be a little shorter, just if I feel like I'm sniffing and it's really annoying. But that's that. So we'll kick off the little monthly recap as per usual by going over my goals for the year. I can't believe it's already been like 4 months of the year. It feels like the year's going really fast, and it's weird. Overall, I'm feeling really good. I feel as though things are, like, on track for me for the most part, and I'm very optimistic for the future, feeling, rejuvenated, recharged, as best as one can be after some weeks, with the fam and my mom's excellent cooking. So it's all going well, and if you can see behind me, I think I was in this spot for my last live stream. The background has changed, and it might change again a little bit, but for the most part, it's gonna stay like this, at least for the live streams. I think my I'll probably sit somewhere else, probably kind of in that back area where we can see my YouTube light, and that's where my ring is set up. So those video background for now are not set, but who knows what the future holds. And yeah, we'll get into it. And if you're watching live, feel free to add whatever comments or whatever in the chat. I will do my best to respond. And if you watch it on the replay, feel free to leave any comments or anything in the comment section, and I will do my best to reply to you there if anything you want to add to whatever it is I'm saying. Now, where are my goals? Okay. I overall feel pretty good about my progress this month. I feel like March, because of moving and everything, I didn't make as much progress in the goals, which might make sense because I was literally moving, but I feel like I made more progress this time. Also, I feel like the headroom is not it. I don't know if that made any difference at all, but whatever. Okay. So for goal number 1, which is one of my private goals, I'll just tell you that I'm, like, kind of halfway there with that goal. So we still have another half to go, but you gotta start somewhere. Then for my goal number 2, which is about my faith journey with God, and, like, that's the vision, and then the goal is reading half of Bible in a year. So, yes, my goal is half of a year of the Bible thing. I'm back at it, baby. I am reading the Bible again, and I'm currently in the book of Numbers and Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is fine. Numbers, I will say, is not that exciting for me, but, uh, we're pushing through regardless. I will say, I feel like reading through the Bible in a year is already benefacting benefiting me because I was at this Bible study and people were talking about, like, our different central figures and who they admire, and someone was talking about Job, and I only read the book of Job because of the Bible in a year, so I actually knew what they were talking about. I feel like this is kind of like a joke that, like, Catholics don't know the Bible, and I feel like we know, like, the basics, but I definitely don't know, like, the nitty-gritty, some of the Bible verses and everything as much as some other denominations are more, like, stereotypically known to do. So I felt like that was a real win for me to know what was going on. For goal number 3, which is to drink more water, water. I am not drinking 64 ounces of water a day yet, but I'm definitely drinking a lot more water, even when I'm not slightly sniffing. I'm really trying to drink more water because I know it's good for you, and good for you in a lot of ways, and I know it's also good, like, I get migraines and stuff, so I know water is good in that sense, so I know it must be done. I still am drinking my lemonade and my orange juice and my apple juice and stuff, my Propels, because I don't really love the taste of water that much, but, I'm trying, okay? It's kinda bland, but we're working on it, we're working on it. For goal number 4, which is about going to 2 or more plus permanents, I am gonna say that between Palm Sunday, Easter, the Seder, going to the Met with some friends. We had, like, a family dinner. Even though a lot of these things involve family, I'm gonna say it counts, okay? I'm gonna say I did a lot of events with lots of people at them, and it was very fulfilling for me as an extrovert person and, like, the energy and everything. I love being around people, so I'm gonna call that a victory. Goal number 5, private goal, but, we made no progress last month goal, but we did make some progress this month. So good for me. Then for my goal of reading 10 new books in the year, I've actually already read 7 new books, which is kind of crazy because I guess like last year I was so disappointed in the lack of new books that I read. I guess I reread more books. I feel like I'm reading more this year in general, but I also just like have been prioritizing reading new books versus rereading books I've already read. But anyways, I can't believe I've already read 7 new books and it's only been 4 months. So I feel super, super confident I'm gonna hit my goal. I might even low key hit my goal like this month, if not this month in June. So that's crazy because my reward, if I get 10 new books, was to get a Kindle. So that way I'm not reading all my Libby books on my phone because that one drains my phone's battery. And I feel like I have heard at least that Kindles have kind of better for your eyes and stuff. So maybe I'll be getting a Kindle sooner than I thought. I don't know. It feels exciting. Um, Goal number 7, which is about like financial stability and sticking to my budget. Doing well with that. I mean, my expenses were very different this month than they had been the earlier part of the year because I finished paying some like certain moving costs and other like utility bills and things are a little bit different with my different living situation, but still, sticking to the budget and really focusing on like saving what I can, which is always good, especially in this economy. For my goal for volunteering, since I've moved, I'm no longer volunteering with the Burbank Animal Shelter, which is disappointing. I mean, obviously it can't happen, but I can still be sad about it. But I am looking at some other places to volunteer and ways to give back to the community. So I would say that's progress there, not with volunteer hours, but looking for new places that I can contribute and give back. So I'm calling it a win. Then for my violin, well, I really wrote ha because I did not play the violin this month. But I have been working on some arm exercises. So I'm giving myself an eighth of credit because, like really stupid arm exercises because otherwise I can't really play my violin for very long if my arms are really weak and sad. So I've been doing some arm exercises so that way when I'm hoping to play this month, like it's happening. I already told my dad I'm going to do my best to play when he's not at home because he works like right across the hall and I don't want to be ruining his life if I'm like squeaking away badly because I know it's initially it's not going to sound good. Like it's going to be a squeak. So I want to save his ears, but also I am going to want to practice. I've been working the arms to prepare. And then my goal of exploring a new place, kind of local to me, I went to Branch Brook Park in Newark for the first time, and I am counting that because that's close to me generally, and I've never been. So I say victory there. As I said, overall, I felt like really good about my goal progress, and I'm not sure. I do feel like that's part of why I was feeling optimistic because it's like, oh, we're accomplishing things in our lives that may not be all like visible to other people, but for me, the things that I want to work towards and do and be and stuff, like we're making money moves. So I would say that's good. And now I shall prepare my device for do not disturbing photo sharing time as I go over the events of my very thrilling month. I could have a joke. I mean, I had a really good month, but I'm not sure if other people will find it thrilling to say. Um, this is not that important, but we went to the Chittlebag Zoo at the beginning of the month because the baby prairie dogs were out, and you can sort of see that's a baby. It's just crazy because they get like so big and fat, and then the babies are like "Eesh, big." Anyways, exciting. So my twin sister is like a killer at winning the Broadway lottery in like spurts, and she won the Broadway lottery. The I went okay, so I saw 4 Broadway shows this month, but she won 3 of the lotteries, and then my friend won the 4th. So I paid less money than most people would pay to see 4 Broadway shows. But the first show she won was Redwood, which my mom and I went to see with the lottery win tickets. This is us looking gorgeous, and it was fun. I think I was most impressed by the set design. If you haven't seen it, I don't wanna, like, spoil too much, but it's called Redwood, so it's obviously it's gonna be a big tree, and it's one of the shows now that is really utilizing the use of screens in the set, And I know some people really don't like that, and I think it's kind of like lazy Broadway instead of building a set. Now, I am biased, right? Like, I love film, I like immersive entertainment, I like the visual medium, so I don't mind screens if they're done well, and I did think they were overall, like, very interestingly done and dynamic and clever, so I appreciated that. I thought the plot wasn't as strong as other shows that I've seen, but I still enjoyed the show overall because I love live theater, I love musicals, and it's always fun to go on an outing, and at that time, I also didn't know that I was gonna be seeing, like, any other shows anytime soon, so I was also just, like, really stoked to see a Broadway show again because I hadn't seen that many since moving to LA. I'd seen a couple shows in LA, but obviously, like, not Broadway shows. So, overall, I was very excited, and also, my mom and I somehow magically excuse me, got, like, upgraded our seats. We were, like, taking a selfie, and then this, like, usher guy came up to us and asked if we wanted to sit in the center, and, we were like, yeah, because we were kind of off the orchestra, and then we had amazing seats. We were literally, like, in the 3rd row. I tried trying to get a picture of Idina Menzel, like, right at the end of the credits, when they're, like, bowing, but I was trying to be in I was, like, mostly in the moment, so I took, like, one quick picture, and then I put my phone away, and I didn't realize my phone had turned off the motion photo because I was like, "If it looks bad, I'll just, like, try to find a better frame." That was not on, and this is what I got. It's literally so bad, but oh well. We tried, like, I really tried, but it didn't work as I thought it was gonna work, but it's okay. And then a couple days later, like, as in 2 days later, my sister and I went to see Sunset Boulevard, which was amazing. Okay, I literally bought the vinyl from the show. I was like, "Oh my god." First of all, I'd seen the movie semi recently, so I was, like, really in the zone to watch the musical, and I thought they did a really good job. It's another musical that uses a screen, but I thought it was very, very cleverly done with, like, aspect ratios and the kind of film camera, especially because of the plot of Sunset Boulevard and, like, the fading actress and everything to then have the cameras and the lighting, I thought was just, like, really poignant. I love ballet as well, and I felt like some of the staging choices and some of the dances were very kind of, like, ballet-esque. Not like they were on point wearing tutus, but just, like, kind of that, like, fluid dance motion, and how it was a little more, like, impressionistic, like, the set was it was very minimal set, very just, like, modern vibe and more kind of like in your head use of the lighting, smoke, this kind of like camera that would appear, sometimes with the visuals, and I thought it was amazing. Everyone's super talented, obviously, but I thought it was really good. I did have a couple comments, like critiques that I gave to my sister, just that like I do feel like some people who act for the stage then they're sort of also acting for the camera, and not everyone I feel like could sort of act to both the camera and the stage at the same time. But I don't it's not like I don't think I could do that. So, of course, I'm not on Broadway, but I don't think I could do that. So it's not like a it's just more of like my little comment. Overall, I was literally obsessed. I loved it, and I would see it again. I would see it again. I really would. Also, fun fact, I got to have lots of snuggles with the puppy because he, like, sits on his bed sometimes, and it's big enough that you can sit with him on, like, the other side of whatever he's on, and I just had to show you because 'cause I'm going through my monthly photos, and he's so cute. Here he is again. It's so cute. Okay, to business. Then, the next week, we're on the 9th of April for some context here. I'm back at it. I'm back at it. Into the city with Nicole to see Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club. Now, they do not let you, like, take any pictures inside at all, so, like, once you get into the hallway, they, like, slap these things, like, that go on the back of your phone, and no pictures. That's why that picture's outside, because everything's supposed to be, like, immersive and, like, in the feeling, and we want this to be kind of secretive, so that way other people don't get spoiled because of the set, and they have pre-show performers kind of moving around in the, like, 45 minutes before the show starts, and I thought it was really nice, honestly, and, like, I'm obviously, like, a person who takes pictures and videos, so I'm not saying I'm above it, but it was really nice to see places where no one was on their phone at once. Like, everybody, for example, watching the pre-show performers, nobody's on their phone, really. I mean, I think maybe one person was, like, texting because you could still be on your phone, but you couldn't take pictures and video. So everyone is just, like, more in the moment in the scene, and I thought that was very, like, moving. I maybe would have been more moving if it wasn't so crowded, um, and you kept having to kind of, like, be jostled around, but I just thought it was really cool that we were all experiencing this together and it wasn't being shared for anybody else. Like whatever's happening there was live just for us, which feels very special. And I just feel like that doesn't happen as much anymore in what I would consider to be more of like a club bar scene. Not that I go to clubs or bars, but I feel like that's not the dynamic typically. When you see that, at least like online clips, I don't see anywhere when you like scroll your phone, like at least some other people have their phones out, but nobody did, right? Because it's not allowed. And I just thought that was awesome. And I knew the plot basically of Cabaret, but I had never seen it before. So it was very exciting to see. I thought the funniest thing about the whole experience, obviously, if you know Cabaret, you know it does not end on like a funny high note at all. It was like definitely off Sunset Boulevard. I was like, oh my God. When I left Cabaret, I was like, oh my God. But what I will say was sort of fun was the MC I saw is or was Orville Peck, and he wears a mask like around his eyes in like his headshot and everything. Like as Orville Peck, he wears a mask. But as the MC, he did not wear a mask. So during the whole show, like some you could see his face fine. Like maybe he had the makeup on or whatever, some of the scenes, but his face was like his actual face, right? But then when he came out and then they went off stage and they came back. When he came back on for like his final bow, he had his mask on, which I just thought was really amusing because you're right, he wasn't the MC anymore. He was no longer playing a character. He was back to himself, and as himself, he wears a mask. So I just thought it was really interesting, and I do recommend you see Cabaret if you are an adult. This is an 18 plus show for sure, and also if you're ready for difficult themes, which I do think is important in this like day and age, especially with what I would consider to be the rise of fascism and everything going on in this lovely political climate. Yay. Excuse me. And then I also had a really cute animal and denim outfit, I will say. Also, another photo of the dog because I'm literally obsessed with him. But okay, then the 11th. So within 2 weeks, okay, this is my second show that week. So my fourth show in April. And I promise you, I didn't see more after this. But my friend then won tickets to see Dorian Gray, um, the picture of Dorian Gray, which is a play by Oscar Wilde. I like Oscar Wilde. I know not he's not for everybody, but Dorian Gray, if you haven't read it, um, you should read the book, and then you should go see the play. But I thought it was great. This one is a Sarah Snook only, so it's a one woman show. I don't see that many like one man or one woman shows, so I was quite excited for this. This one was definitely also not what I was expecting in that it again has screens and really played with the screen. These screens didn't just go up and down, they moved side to side. They were moving like up, down, side, across. Whoa, like really technically, such a technically impressive show. Again, as someone who likes screens and what you can do with them beyond just like a basic showing something, I was eating it up, okay? And Sarah Snook's so talented, and I don't even know like how you have to be so trained, like not just to be in the spot, but the timing for everything to work with the different screens has to be so precise, beyond impressive. Look so good. I highly recommend you see it, and it will also just make you ponder philosophically like what is youth, what is beauty, and what cost do we lose it or not, and just wow moments. I mean, this is why I love storytelling and theater or, a movie that really makes you feel something because sometimes, like, in our busy, hectic lives, like, we don't have any time to feel our own emotions, or we don't want to feel our own emotions, but I feel like when you go see a show or if you watch a really impactful movie, it forces you to feel, like, those characters' emotions at the very least, and that can help us process our own emotions without even realizing it. I don't know, I think it's just awesome, and I love it. I love theater. And then it was very exciting. I went to the family Seder, and this is this is a really angry looking picture of this cat, but I'm really excited every time I get to see this cat because I fostered her in college and then my aunt and uncle adopted her. So I still get some like update photos every now and then. And it's really nice to see a cat that she started out like so like she was kind of sick and small and everything and to kind of like see her rise and get back on her feet or her little paw, I suppose. And then to be able to know that she's like so loved. Literally, they spoil her to death. She's a little princess, as she deserves, okay? But it's just so nice because the other foster cat I fostered in college, I didn't know the people who ended up fostering him or adopting him, so I don't know what happened to him. I mean, I trust he was a senior cat, so I don't know if he's still alive or not, but I trust that if, for however long he had or has, I trust that he's being well looked after, but it's really nice that I have, like, evidence that this cat is happy. And then my sister and I, dyed Easter eggs. You may have seen my shirt. I think overall they turned out really well. The only one that did not turn out great, which I don't know if I have any pictures of because I didn't want to reveal it to the world. I don't. So we were trying most of them we use, like, just the tablets that you put in, but we were trying to make purple because purple's my favorite color, and, it did not work, okay? We used, like, food coloring instead, but even though I thought we did, like, the dyes were mixed right, basically, it didn't look good. It looked kinda brown, and then we tried to add some more red, but I actually put it in when the egg was still in there, and then it actually hit the egg mostly, and it looked like Jupiter, which looks sort of cool, but when you think Easter eggs, you think, light pastel colors, you don't think, like, the planet Jupiter, so the purple did not work out, needless to say. But, it's fun because when you go on walks, you see flowers, and that made up for my Jupiter egg. Then this was the Branch Park outing that I talked about as my spot. There's Cal is a little cherry blossom king that he is. It was so pretty. I mean, just like, oh, I love trees. I feel like they're such a quintessential like spring thing, right? Like, oh my God, what's spring? Cherry trees. And I like how there's like the fluffy blossoms and less fluffy blossoms. I wish the day had been a little sunnier when we went, but overall, I still felt magical and springy, which is just, recharging to myself. Then we had our big unpacking day with the U-Haul. We had rented a U-Box. And this was actually like a whole thing. So we were supposed to pick up the U-Box at 9 a.m. Lo and behold, it's not there. They're like, so it left Vineland, New Jersey, but it's not here at our pickup point in New Jersey. We're not sure where it is. I was like, what do you mean you don't know where it is? And they're like, well, it's on the truck, but we cannot contact the driver while he's driving. So it was a whole to do. Needless to say, we did not pick up the U box until like 4:30 or 5 p.m. So that whole kind of first chunk of the day that I thought we were going to be like, yeah, unpacking, no unpacking was done because we didn't even have stuff, and I was a little worried because it's like, "What do you mean you don't know where all my stuff is?" I will say the manager of the U-Haul, like, pickup point, she was really great. She got us, she communicated very well. We got our U-Box, it was all fine, I got all my stuff. We did an extra bonus hike that I wasn't prepared for emotionally. I mean, it was fine, it was not a big hike. I wasn't expecting because now we had all this time. But it did add some stress that I really didn't need. Okay, I really didn't need this, but all's well that ends well, right? And then the next day was Easter. My mom and I looked beautiful for Easter, as we should, to celebrate Jesus. Yay! Usually we would go, or I would go usually to like a later Easter mass that usually has like lots of instruments and stuff. But my mom is now one of the lectors, and she was doing the 8 a.m. mass. So I rallied to the cause so I could be there on Easter for her to read at Easter. And it was really cool. It was very cool to see my mom there. It's sort of funny because like I in my hometown church used to sing in the children's choir and then the adult choir when I was in high school. And then my college, I was in the music ministry and was the cantor kind of end of my time in college there. So it's just kind of fun then to see, like, instead of me up there, I'm sitting in the pews where like my mom would sit and watch me saying I'm now sitting, he's watching her read. So it was very exciting to see that. And she did a great job. I don't usually go though to see her read because it's at, or hear her read because it's at 8 a.m. almost all the time. But Easter was a special occasion, obviously. And also the church is so pretty on Easter. I mean, I'm gonna go to church on Easter. I just like my mom probably wasn't gonna go a second time, and my mom wanted to go celebrate with her. And also, my dad made popovers because he could actually eat them then later for dinner because Passover was ended, and I love popovers. That's basically why. That's basically why he did it. More for me than for him, but he benefited. And then went to the zoo again later in the month. The budgies were out. I took a made a short of this because I was like so excited. Most of the buddies actually were still inside. Like there were a bunch of them like kind of inside because I guess the weather was getting warmer, but they're like venturing out in spurts. It was so loud though. It was crazy, especially when you were like by the area where we're all in there. Me, peeping. So God bless the zookeepers who have to like be in the aviary budgie area because I would be losing my mind. I honestly think I would if I had to sit there and hear them like all day. But they are cute at least, so that's a win. Working on my scrapbook. I was so behind on my scrapbook because it had been in the U boxes. So literally when I unpacked the U boxes, it's already like towards the second half of April. And I had to still finish the very end of January because things had gotten like so crazy with everything. So it was not, I was stressed, okay. But now we're doing good. We're now, I still have to finish up a bit of March. Now that it's May, it feels worse, but it's May first. So before I was like, okay, we're in April and I still only have to finish a bit of March. Like I'm no longer like months and months behind. And I am expecting to finish March like sometime this upcoming weekend. And then I just need to do April and then like what 3 days of May. So I'm feeling more confident to be caught up. But there was a moment where I was like, I'm never getting caught up again on my scrapbook. And by the time I get back to it, I'm gonna have forgotten any funny things that ever happened during the times that I still have to write about. But luckily, I didn't spiral too much, and I just was like, "It's okay. We're gonna work on the scrapbook what we can, and it's gonna work out. It's gonna be fine." And I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased, I will say. And then we had like a special dinner to celebrate my parents' birthdays, and I'm gonna flex them. They're so cute, so cute. I love my parents, and I got this pineapple sorbet, and it came in the tiniest pineapple ever. I mean, not at maybe that's a hard thing to say because everything's small, but, like, it wasn't literally, like, this big. It was a normal I thought it was a good amount of sorbet. I just wasn't prepared for it to come, like, in a pineapple. So, that was quite exciting. I love when, like, a random food, dessert, or whatever comes, like, this kind of special glamorized way. It feels extra special. And then, to celebrate me being back in the East on the East Coast and, like, having bestie adventures, me and my friend went to the Met, and then my sister also met up with us a little later in the day. And before we got to the Met, we were gonna go take the bus. Well, we were picked up sandwiches from this cool Italian place that his name I cannot pronounce, but the sandwich was divine, like so good and huge. But we were gonna take the bus so that we could be above ground versus underground. But then we were foiled because there was a parade happening, so we could not take the bus. So we had to take the subway. But there was a silver lining because then we got to stop by Bon Bon, a candy store, which whose bag I actually still have here, even though I think there's one sour candy left. So I should really eat that. But we got to stop by a candy store. So it was all good. It was all worth it. It was all worth it. And then we went to the Met, and I do have a little short coming out over the weekend, I think. Just being like, "Woohoo, the Met!" But I love the Met. It's one of my favorite places, like literally in the world. One year I even had like my birthday party at the Met. At my birthday party, I mean, I think my dad let me bring like 2 or 3 friends, and we drove and went to the Met to go see art because I love the Met so much. And it's just so cool to see. I don't want to like annoy by showing art that I saw. Oh, here's me at the special like kind of photography special exhibit thing. There's me with my little stereoscopic stereograms thing, looking epic, obviously. But I love when you see something like well, this is a bad example, but you see like armor on a horse, and it's like a real horse wore that stuff. Like that's crazy to me. Or when we're looking at like the ancient Egypt art or ancient Greek, Roman, like this stuff is so old, and someone made it and put all this time and effort into it, and we're looking at it today. That's wild to me. And then also, this is my favorite painting of all time. I'm just obsessed with it. I love the lighting, I love the fabric, the lace. I think she's beautiful, but like I'm just obsessed with it. But my favorite painter is Monet, and we did see him stuff as well because how can you not go to the Met and not look at the water lilies? Ah, literally, I would love to go to Gibney. I would just I would die. I would die. It'd be amazing. I literally love the Met, and every time I go to the Met, I see, like, new art, whether it's because of, like, a new temporary or special exhibit or just something I somehow, like, never recognized, like, somewhere that I've been a lot. Like, it's just really impressive to me that there's so much art out there, and it's like that's the one museum and that's why I love going to art museums and going to new stuff because you never know what you're gonna see and what's going to inspire you, whether it's to make your own thing or just to, like, appreciate the life you have even more. It's just like it charges me. It's like it's just invigorating. Honestly. I love art so much, and love my little squad. Here's us. Yay! Yay! Go team! It was great. It was great. Also, we went to, like, the visible storage area, and I feel like I've never been there at the Met before. Some museums I have, like, kind of that visible storage bit. I feel like I've never been there before at the Met. It was really cool because it's all sort of sorted by type versus, these fancy galleries, so it was just very amusing to see, like, "Oh my god, look at all those spoons," for example. And then, of course, Nicole, my sister, was like, "Wow, I really like this desk." And it's a Frank Lloyd Wright. It's like, okay, taste, but it's just kinda crazy. I also will say, I don't have any pictures of this because I didn't like it enough to photograph, but there was this one girl in a painting who had a really unique look, and her name was Maria Teresa, and she was the Infant of Spain. And she had like her hair, like it was like asymmetrical and like it was like it's hard to explain. Anyways, later in the museum, a totally different wing, maybe a different blue. I'm like, that's the Infanta again. Was because she had such a distinct look, mostly the hair, but also, like, her nose, so, and it was different artists, so they were both really good at capturing her because I thought it was the same girl right away from, like, across the room. Very exciting stuff, and, closed out the by going on a nice little walk around the reservoir with my mom, and it's, like, nice weather spring when all the turtles are out, and they're all different sizes, which I just think is adorable. Like, this one is that was so tiny. Um, I don't know, it just is really wholesome to see them all, like, out there in the sun, like, living their best. And although usually I wish I was a cat laying in the sun, when I do see the turtles in the sun, I wish I was a turtle in the sun because they look like they're living literally the best any could ever live. And yeah, it just feels like it was a really good month. And a year ago, my April was like the worst month ever. If you know, you know. So I just feel so lucky and grateful that this April was really good and that I have such an amazing and supportive family and friends. And I'm just really hopeful for the rest of the year for myself. And also I'm hopeful, the world will improve and get better. We are seeing, steps. Um, the ACLU is winning some cases and communities are gathering to, have our voices heard. And I definitely recommend that if you're an American, I mean, other countries too are facing political threats internally, but I just can't speak to them as much. But you know, ACLU has stuff going on. The hands off movement is happening. I really like the work in families right now. Like things are happening, and I'm over optimistic all the time would be a lie, but I currently in this moment am feeling optimistic that if we don't give up and we can make a positive impact and change on the world, and it will not be too late for everybody to live in a better society. So, with that being said, I am going to go blow my nose properly when I'm not on camera, and I will see you again very soon in short for sure because I have 2 scheduled and a live long form hopefully soon once I finish my script, and if at the very least next month in a live stream. So I hope you have a great rest of your day and have a wonderful month of May, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.